Man United is a team that like we have been known to sign all these players for this big money and everything, make these big money moves, and then like we just never get the returns on it and everything. So like I get the caution and everything, but like I'm just looking at other teams and how they splurged on like even that DMs. Yo, you guys, what is good, man? Welcome back to Real United Talk, where we talk about all matters Real Madrid and Man United. This is going to be a United Matters episode, and today I'm going to be asking the question: should Man United go all in for Carlos Baleba at Brighton? This isn't really based on anything, like there's no strong links to Baleba. Obviously, there's rumors here and there saying that like United are potentially interested in Baleba, but like every transfer window, United is linked to every single player. So like I wouldn't take it. I'll take it with like a pinch or so. There's nothing like concrete in the news saying that Man United are going for Baleba or anything. But I actually wonder, should Man United actually go all in for Baleba? Obviously, Baleba is a player right now who many teams are not really looking at, not because he's not that good. Everybody knows how good he is, but like because of how much they know they have to pay for him. Like Brighton is a team that has charged plenty of money for their players. Obviously, we saw how much they charge for Caicedo and everything. And like we just know that if you want to go for Baleba, you have to pay at least 100 million. That's the least amount that you pay for Baleba. So like teams are kind of like we all know that he's good and all of that, but like, do we really want to start paying 100 million right now for this player? Everybody's kind of like backing off and everything. And United is a team that's kind of like backing off from those type of deals right now, especially given like our financial situation and all of that. We don't want to be paying 100 million for players right now and everything. So yes, but should we actually be going all in? Should we actually start looking at Baleba differently and start being like he will be worth it? Don't worry. I wonder, just because like I think that Baleba is a player that will suit this Amorim system perfectly. I think that given decision that it looks like I'm making in terms of like, sticking with Bruno in that 8th position and everything, and potentially even Manu, because Manu will probably be the first person in line when Bruno is not playing, or maybe when Bruno plays in the calm and everything, Manu will probably be the first person in line. So I actually wonder if like a player like Baleba will actually be well suited to fit in that Amorim system. I think that in terms of everything that he has the defensive ability, he's good at the passing, he's good at receiving ball from the back four, good. Like he's just good. He's just a good defensive midfielder. He's just the type of midfielder that everybody wants at that club right now, and everybody kind of needs and everything. So I actually wonder if my United should actually just like frame it. And I know I already made an episode saying that like we need to start making smarter financial decisions and everything, but I actually wonder if like Baleba will just be like a smart financial decision based on the returns that we get from him, because Man United have not had that like proper DM in years. Obviously I know that we got Gate and everything, and Gate is a player I love. I think he's a good player. I think he's a player that's done a lot for us so far. Obviously he can do more, but he has done a good amount in his first season and everything. But like like I don't think that Man United have properly invested in the DM in years. We got like Matic, we got Casemiro, we got all these older man and everything. They haven't had that proper DM, guy that's coming out and everything. Obviously, we've had like good midfielders and all that. We've had Pogba, we've had Mainu, we've had good midfielders, but we haven't had that good DM to just stick there and just be like, yeah, they're going to be a DM for the next like 10 years and everything. We're always getting these like Casemiro's and Matic and everything. People that like, it's probably like 3-4 years that they're able to give us more. So I actually wonder if an investment like Baleba will actually make sense. Like I said, it take nothing less than 100 million to get Baleba, and you're wondering like, oh, would that actually work? Is this going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth that 100 million? Because like right now, a lot of these players that are costing 100 million and everything is not really worth it. They're not really worth the price. There's a lot of players that are an example of that. So like Man United is a team that like we have been known to sign all these players for this big money and everything, make these big money moves, and then like we just never get the returns on it and everything. So like I get the caution and everything, but like I'm just looking at other teams and how they splurged on like even that DMs and how it has like paid dividends for them, because like I just have to look at them and just be like, this guy, it worked for them, so like why can't he work for us? And the first team is obviously Arsenal. Arsenal splashed the money for Declan Rice, 120 million. They were in a bidding war with Chelsea, and they ended up winning, paying 120 million for Declan Rice. And as much as, like, that's a lot of money, some people might argue that, like, they haven't got the returns on it. Some people might say that, like, oh, he's still not like a proper defensive midfield and everything. They even want to move into the 80, looks like, and put Zubimendi there. So, like, because they want that distribution. And Teta wants that distribution and everything from the back, which Rice doesn't necessarily have. But I'll say that Rice, in terms of, like, I wouldn't say necessarily that he's worth 120 million, but he has been a good return on investment and everything. Obviously, so what he did in Champions League, and I think that Rice is just a proper player. And obviously, like I said, Arsenal has seen the returns on Rice and everything. So as much as like he's not a 120 million player, I think that he is worth it. Like I think that them going all in for Rice has been worth it so far. Someone that is good defensively, someone that can get you goals, and just an absolute engine in that midfield, running front and back. Rice will even be a perfect player for Man United right now, but I'm not going to get into all of that. But like, I just think that Rice has been such a revelation for Arsenal, and I think that Rice is someone that can even be the potential captain. But like that's like getting ahead of ourselves and everything. I just think that like the money for Rice that Arsenal spent has been worth. I think that going all in for Rice was worth it. And another player that's proving to be worth it right now is Moises Caicedo at Chelsea. Obviously, Caicedo is like a peak example of the way that Brighton can, just charge you anything for all these players. Chelsea obviously paid like 120 million for Caicedo, something like that. I remember that there was like a bidding war with Liverpool, and Chelsea ended up winning, getting the 120 million. Caicedo, I think he's a Chelsea fanboy who's Chelsea fan, and he chose Chelsea. But like, 120 million is a crazy amount of money. I know in his first season, he kind of struggled a bit. Like, he was still trying to adapt to the whole thing, not necessarily adapt to the Premier League because he already played in the Premier League. But like this season, it has paid dividends. Again, worth 120 million? Not necessarily sure. Like, who is really worth 120 million in the way that they play in terms of what they bring? Obviously, like right now, today's market and everything, like you just have to take what you can get. Like, you just have to pay this money and just hope that the player is worth it in general. Not necessarily worth the money that you paid, but just worth it in general. This season, Caicedo has proven to be worth it. He has done so well for Chelsea. He was consistent for them. He was always readily available. That was one main thing. He was always readily available. Something about Rice as well is that he's also readily available and everything. So these are players that that are going to play, they're not going to be injured all season, they're not going to be sidelined, not put on the bench for any reason. They have that engine and they're always ready to play no matter what. Caicedo has proven to be that, Rice has proven to be that. And like I said, these are two players that, like, as much as they don't necessarily worth the 120 million that paid dividends right now and are worth it in general. So I now wonder, like, can Man United do the same thing? Can Man United go for Baleba and get the same, like, return on investment for him? Like, I think that it won't take more than like maybe 120 million, 120 million to get Baleba off Brighton. And all that. I think the contract runs down in 2028. So obviously they still have the power right now. And they obviously want to keep Baleba. Brighton are doing well right now. They're doing well for themselves. They're trying to be a team that's constantly getting into Europe and all that. And they don't want to be losing like these sorts of players. But at the same time, Brighton is a team that, like, they function on this type of like, turnover. Like the succession plan is so good. Bissouma for Caicedo, Caicedo for Baleba, like that succession plan is so good. So I don't think that they'll have a problem replacing Baleba. If they do sell him and they get the amount of money, they'll probably just gonna sign somebody else for like 10 million or something like that. And he'll end up being like a proper player. So like I think that going for Baleba would actually be worth it, just in terms of like what he will bring, and just in terms of like his age, just in terms of like he's just what we need right now. Obviously, our financial situation is serious and we should be making these sorts of deals and everything, but like, a big signing like this might be exactly what we need to just know that, like, we're there. Like, like one piece of the puzzle is there right now. He'll be a good player to have. And anytime he's not playing, Ugarte is always there for him and all of that. Like, just having like him and Ugarte rotating in those DM spots, Gate can continue to grow in this Amorim system and just grow in general as a player. And I think that, like, Baleba being there, because I think that, like I said, Baleba has everything that we need right now. He's good on the ball, can receive the ball from the back four, he's good at defending, like, and I think that he'll complement anybody that he plays next to, whether it's Bruno or Mainu, whoever it is. I think that he'll complement them well. He'll be able to cover a lot of ground. He has the legs, unlike a player like Casemiro, who, as much as he's good right now, as much as he had that like revival, doesn't necessarily have the legs that he used to. He has the legs, he has the age, he has everything. We know that this is a player that will be with us for at least 10 years. If he decides to stay at Man United, if you sign him and tries to stay, he'll be with us for 10 years. And it's a risk because, like, Man United have made all these big money moves and everything and they haven't worked out. But it doesn't mean that, like, we'll never make them again. Obviously, given our situation and just in general, like, I would hope that, like, in the future, instead of like signing Baleba, I hope that we can, like, in the future, like, discover our own Baleba, like start finding like those hidden gems and everything rather than signing the finished pieces and all that. So maybe in the future, instead of like actually having to go for like 100 million players, maybe we'll start going for 10 million players that become 100 million players and everything. Is it something that like a lot of things I've done? Look at Real Madrid with Valverde, Brighton constantly doing it over and over and over again. So like it's something that we need to start doing for ourselves. Like it will help us like balance our books, and it will just be like it's just like a staple in football. Like you just need to be able to make your own talents. Like it's not every time you need to be able to sign 100 million players. Sometimes just make your own talents and everything. Just sign a player for like 5 million, make a player out of the academy and make them worth 100 million kind of thing. Obviously, we have a lot of good players from our academy and all of that. So maybe that's not necessarily the problem. But like, I can't remember the last time that like we signed a player for like chicken change, and then we bid the guy like what 100 million. I can't remember last time that we did that. So it's something that we need to start doing again. So in the future, I hope that we start discovering our own Balebas, start discovering our own Valvides and all of that. I hope that we can start doing that. But like right now, we do need a player that can play in that system. We do need a player that like will fit well for us. And I think that Baleba will fit well for us. I think there's an investment worth making. I've seen obviously all these other teams do it. We saw Chelsea do it. Like I said, we saw Arsenal do it. And like I just think that is something that we can do. Real Madrid also did it with Bellingham, and it's just something that we can do. It's just something that I think that we need to do, just so we know that we have a player that like is there for us for years. Like even like and regardless, even if like Amorim leaves potentially and everything, Baleba is Baleba. Like he's just a good player, and I think that for 10 years we know that we have a proper DM, and we don't have to be worrying, oh, is this the right guy? We don't have to be worrying, oh, we signed a 30-year-old, so we're going to have to replace him next season and everything. We just know that we have a player for at least 10 years. So yes, I think that Baleba is worth it, and I think that we should actually go all in for Baleba. And I actually think that the fact that no club is actually looking at him right now because of how much it will cost, I think that it will actually do us a whole world of good, because like as much as they still charge us a lot of money, we're not going to be in a bidding war with anybody, because you'll never know. Maybe at some point, like one or two teams just be like, I'm going to pay that 100 million and everything, and all of a sudden you're in a bidding war. You don't necessarily want to enter a bidding war with anybody right now. You want to pay whatever. So if Brighton say 100 million, we don't have to make it 130 million, because we're trying to bid against like Tottenham or Chelsea or whoever it is. So yes, even now that no team is necessarily looking at him because of that price tag, it will even do us a whole world of good. So I think that maybe if we get this Mbeumo deal over the line, sell one or two of our players and everything, I think that Baleba is a player that we should start seriously looking at. I think to be a good return on investment. So yes, Man United, please start looking at Baleba for me, and let's just get him into this Man United team. Let's get him into that red jersey. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you guys again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try and stay consistent, keep on pushing out episodes, and I just hope to see you guys again next time. Safe.